Hello, my name's Barry Auchettl and welcome back to this fantastic show today. And we've got a really rip-roaring show for everyone here today, and I'm just really excited to see what's actually going to happen here. And today's topic is, should universities focus on truth or social justice? And having gone to universities in the 70s, I was a little bit disappointed because all the love and protests that went on in the 60s, and I thought I was going to go to university and be full of protesting and burning my tie and doing all these sorts of things, and I found universities in the late 70s and 80s was a bit bland, really. Everything became traditionalised and organised and functionalised. And so, that whole social justice of the 60s, where no one really worried too much about the academic world, but really worried about being in protests and peace and love. And I was sort of hoping for some of that to come across. So the topic today is that, should universities be about the truth and facts and information, or should it be about this whole area of social justice, whatever social justice may mean for you? So we're going to start today with about 45 seconds each by each of our leading panellists up here to get their view. So we'll start with you, Abby.
Okay, so as an Myers-Briggs INTJ, which is relevant, truth is very important. It's probably my highest value. So I'm also an Osho Zen Sannyasa, and that's like Buddha. So the search for truth is the most important thing for me, and it actually supplants all other values.
Okay, where's this thing? Paul.
I was very interested in your own personal experience of being at university. I grew up in a time, I didn't go to university, but a lot of my friends did, and I really admired the passion and the reformation that came out of university students taking to the streets or whatever protest action they took. I think that that's really important, and I think that it gets people thinking, and it's really integral to any revolution. I was a bit surprised that you just burnt your tie. I mean, perhaps burn your undies and let your testicles swing free would have been given that the women were burning their bras. I think perhaps something a little bit more radical would have been more impressive though.
Okay, the burning the tie was quite radical because that was at a time where women were burning their bras and the men were in some ways still sitting there playing the tie, and we have to be very formal and stuff. And so for me, burning a tie symbolises coming out and being free and coming, who I am. And I said to a group of friends one day, I said, I'm actually coming out of the closet. And they all looked at me and said, oh, what? And I said, yes, I've actually choosing my right to be who I am. Why should that be just for a minority group to choose to be who they are? So I chose at that point to come out and throw my tie away and to be who I am.
Sexual revolution was a very important part of that period though, and I think that's so I think burning your undies would have been better.
Terrific. Okay.
Yeah, my university years I think were the best university years we ever saw, and that was when we had the revolution to fight to end the Vietnam War.
So the question, going back to the question then, is should universities focus on truth or social justice?
Truth and social justice meant everything to me then, because I felt even though we were there to learn, to be part of the paradigm of economics and politics, the whole thing that we were going to become a part of when we left university, where we came from in terms of our own personal truth and justice was going to determine how we were going to actually use those things to our careers, which career directions we were going to choose and so forth. For me it was psychology, sort of went to creative writing, political writing, and now into the film industry. So it really had a big effect on which direction I was going to take in my life. And what I found disappointing was there are so many of my fellows out there marching the streets when the Vietnam War with burning the bras and letting the testicles swing and doing all that great free love stuff, but what happened after another decade, once they went into careers, they became the blue-suited tie guys, and they put the bras back on and they became part of mainstream. Yes. And I'm one of the very few last remaining fossils still out there marching the streets and still hanging banners and still part of the revolution.
Okay, so you're very much, what I'm hearing is very much about that whole social justice process seemed to be stronger than the truth aspect. But I want to just go to the audience and see if the audience have got any questions here, because a lot of taxpayer money is put into education and the importance of education and finding the truth, which is why universities were there in the first place.
Well, I wouldn't have a question. I listened to what Abby said, and truth is for me a higher value. Can you perhaps explain how, if you were to give up your truth, what sort of social injustice would occur?
It wouldn't be worth living. And the focus is the important thing. You can only focus on one thing. Which one do you want? You're going to focus on truth or social justice? Where are you going to put your eyes? You cannot have an and. It's one or the other. When you focus, you always focus on one item.
When the way the brain works, you can't really multitask. It's a bit of a fallacy, so I understand that. But through your day, you'll focus on one thing, then you'll focus on another thing, and then you may come backwards and forwards or go to other things. So, what's the problem with having a focus on truth, and then at another time having a focus on social
Can't do
justice?
it. You find the successful organisations and companies in the world, such as Coca-Cola. Do they sell milk or do they sell Coke? They sell Coke. They focus on Coke. When they did it in Germany, it was Fanta, but it was exactly the same item. And all they do is have Coca-Cola, 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 Coca-Cola. Focus.
Okay, but we're not talking about a company. We're talking about an institution which is focused on courses that may have relevance in social arena, and then you've got courses that are perhaps scientific.
Okay, so then you look at what's the purpose of the institution. So the purpose of, say, Coca-Cola is to sell the product. The purpose of a university is for what? It's actually to produce students who can go out there in the world and contribute to the society and help make a profit.
So I guess the question is we've got to look at this whole process of what it's really about. What are universities about in the first place? And I'm just wondering if there's anyone here that really believes, having done a Masters of Education, which was about attaining more knowledge. There was a knowledge component in what I did. And this is about adding to society's range through knowledge. So I'd like to hear someone in the room who thinks that this whole idea of truth and knowledge is the primary thing of universities. Is there anyone here that sees that?
I think that's true. I think universities are about truth, learning, and all that sort of thing, not social justice. We made it an issue of social justice. We hijacked universities, basically.
All right. But your view is that they should be there as a learning.
That's what they're there for.
Process.
They're an educational institution, like state school, primary school.
Okay.
No, I agree. I don't think universities should rather issue social justice and focus more on the truth, because it's not their responsibility to instill social justice values on the younger generations that are coming through at the moment.
But because universities are paid institutions, is the pursuit of truth actually not creating social injustice by excluding a large amount of the population who can't afford to study? Let's just maybe throw that in the room.
Great question. We haven't got time for it. I just want to finish up with one comment from someone in the room who believes that universities should be about social justice, and this is about how we develop as a society and as a world of being caring and inclusive of each other.
I would say that with the university, you've got the institution, and then you've got the people who attend that institution, and I think it's the role of the students to be involved with social justice issues if that's their bent. And I grew up in a time. All the panellists are baby boomers, and when there was a revolution, there was a great upheaval in the society, and I think that time's coming again. But it's up to the people to rise up, not for the institution.
And I'd like to finish up here by just thanking Gough Whitlam for providing free education for myself. And he did say it's time. So that's time for tonight. Thank you.
Very grateful.